So finally, we're going to just test it by pressing Command R to run the simulation to see if we hear everything nicely as it should be.
Run. Tutorial 2. Tutorial 2. Tutorial.
Okay. Yep, so we can hear the crickets, the wind, and the chime. It's a nice little atmosphere. Here you go for an app like, Mental, Peaceful, and Serenity app. Just put it up on the App Store for free. Or maybe $59.99, something like that. Okay, jokes aside.
Xcode. Stop.
There's a few more things to do now. Two things. So one is so that we can start testing to see if the steps work. All right. So currently, as you know, the game view controller conforms to the SCN renderer delegate. Now we haven't set the delegate yet, and once there's a delegate, so the game view controller, the game view will have to start playing. That means to start taking into account all the render updates. So now we're going to go back to the awake from nib function.
Full methods and function. Override func key down left parent with event colon new line. SCN scene. Func renderer left new line. Time interval. Func renderer var is var last interval var stack interval new line. Override func awake from nib left parent new line.
Okay, we got the awake from nib.
Unfold method. Right brace. Chime dot audio right parent. Tab.
So at the end of it, what we'll do is game view.
Game view. Period.
Delegate.
Delegate. Equals.
The controller itself, because the controller has the delegate. It conforms to that protocol.
S.
So self.
Self. Tab.
Okay. Finally, we're going to use game view.
Vertices. Period.
Oops.
GX self. Selected. Self GL underline MAX underline GL underline MAX selection deleted. Game view dot new line. Game view dot delegate equals self. New line.
Okay. Game view.
Game view. Period.
Play. So
image. Bool. Is playing.
Yep. Is playing.
Is playing. Equals.
True.
T.
Now.
New line. New right brace.
Normally would start all animations and things like that, but that also means that it starts to trigger the updates. All right. Now let's see if this works.
Run. Tutorial 2. Tutorial 2.
Okay, now I'm going to press the arrow keys. Okay, you can hear some moving, but we're actually not moving exactly yet. Okay, the step intervals are a bit longish for me.
Xcode. Stop.
So we'll change the interval to...
New line. Var stack interval colon. Time interval equals 0.8. Period. 8.
Let's change it to 0.5.
Save. Run.
Try it again.
Tutorial 2. Tutorial 2.
Okay, that's a bit better. And as you can hear, the sounds are quite random, so I'll just continuously press the arrow. So that's not bad. Oops, that was the microphone. So that's not bad. And the last thing
Xcode. Stop.
is pretty much to change the position of the player by using the move variable that we have.
Var last interval equals C.
So we're going to go into the renderer delegate method.
Var is moving equals func renderer left parent underline. Time interval right parent. If is moving left brace.
Okay, so if it's moving...
If C current media time left parent right parent. Last interval equals C current media time. Camera node dot audio player left parent. SCN audio player left parent source colon. Steps left bracket int.
Alright.
Left parent arc for random. Camera node last interval. If C current media time. If is moving left brace. Time interval right. Left brace. Tab.
So we're going to put it above the if is moving because if we're actually pressing on any of the arrows, we move anyhow. And the if is moving variable is just to check so that we can start putting up the little block of code to start playing the footstep sounds. So in this case, what we're going to do is we got the camera node.
Camera node. Period.
Position. Right.
Position.
And at this point, we're going to take its position and then add the extra movement for the float2, which is the move variable. Okay, so we're going to take SCN vector 3.
SCN vector 3, left parent.
And inside we're going
Colon,
to
space,
X,
comma, space, Y, colon, comma, space,
and
Z, space, right parent, right, space.
There are several ways to actually do this. If you actually created an extension, you could easily just do a plus sign with SCN vector 3, but I haven't actually created the extension, although I can do it now actually. So what I'll do,
new line,
I'll go to the bottom of the class,
right brace, new line,
and go outside of the class. All right, and I will call this func
plus black plus left parent,
and left,
colon,
so the left operand,
space,
which is
cap
an
S,
SCN vector 3,
SCN
and
space,
then
R, right, colon, space, cap S,
also an SCN vector 3.
3, SCN vector 3 right parent, dash,
And this will output another
Greater.
SCN vector 3. So SCN vector 3.
greater SCN vector left brace, tab,
Okay, so what happens is that this, all it does, it takes the left SCN vector 3 and right SCN vector 3 operands and pluses all of the elements, so all the components in those vectors, the X, Y, and Z components or axis. So here I'll say return
cap S,
SCN vector 3
left parent,
X,
colon, space,
so
L,
left
period,
dot X
X, plus, R, right, period,
X.
X, comma, space,
For the Y coordinate,
colon,
nothing happens,
space.
so I'll keep the left dot Y.
L, it left, Y, comma, space,
And then for Z,
colon, space,
left
it
dot
left, period, Z, plus, R,
right
period,
dot
Z,
Okay,
Z right parent,
and if I return, yep,
right brace, return func plus left parent left colon, SCN vector 3, right colon, SCN vector 3 right parent dash greater SCN vector, left brace,
oops,
greater SCN vector,
3.
left brace,
SCN vector 3.
new line, save,
Okay, now I'm going to use this piece of code so that
right brace, full method, new line, override func key down left parent, new line, SCNC, func new line, time func renderer left, var is moving equal, unfold methods in function, time interval right parent, camera node dot position, SCN vector,
okay, so camera dot position,
right parent, Z colon, right parent, Y colon, X colon, SCN vector 3 left parent, position, selected,
so the
selection replaced,
position
equals, C,
camera node
period,
dot position
plus,
and this time we're going to create an SCN vector 3 with the direction that we want from the move that we made with the arrow keys. So
plus,
SCN vector 3,
left parent,
and for
colon,
X,
space,
we're going to check the move.
Move,
What was it? Yep.
image, void, move up left parent, image, void, move down left parent center colon, any, right parent,
Or was it a different
return,
variable?
func renderer, var is moving, var last var step, new line, override func new line,
I'm just going to check it.
add ideal, let camera node equals let chime source equals let chime equals let ambient source equals let ambient equals let cricket source equals let cricket equals var direction equals float to left parent 0 right parent,
Oops, it's direction.
let
So
add new line, over new line, var step interval colon, var is func renderer left parent underline, unfold, time interval, camera node dot position equal if is moved, camera move right parent, move, selected, selection replaced, D, direction, period, image, string, debug description, image, float, X,
yeah, direction dot X.
comma, space, Y,
is
space, 0, period, 0, space,
And
Z, colon, space,
is
D,
direction
period,
Y.
E right parent, new line, if is moving left direction,
Okay,
camera node dot position equals camera node dot position plus SCN vector 3 left parent X colon, direction dot X, Y colon, 0.0, Z colon, direction dot Y right parent,
okay, this should be alright. There shouldn't be any mistakes, perhaps.
E right parent, add source code annotations, list, diagnostic error, dash game view controller dot Swift colon, 78 cannot convert value of type, float to expected argument type, float,
Alright, yes. Floating point numbers, CG float numbers, and all these different data types are actually type secure. So there are two ways to go about it, and one is just to force the type.
if is direction dot X, Y colon, direction, period,
So direction dot X,
period, N,
just to
X, comma, X,
So direction dot.
Direction. Period. Image. Float. X.
See, this gives a float.
X. Direction.
So I'll put CG float.
CG. CG float. D. I. R. Direction. Period. X. X. Right comma. Space. Y. Colon. Space. 0. Period. 0 comma. Space. Z. Colon. Space. D. D.
CG float.
CG float. Left arrow. D. I. Direction. Period. Y. Y. Right arrow. New line. Save.
And this error should go away. Yes, it does.
-game view. -game view. In-game view control.
Okay, it seems like it's
Save.
completely out. I'm just going to double check to make sure that I have analyzed everything to make sure there are no
Build failed.
diagnostic errors. Yes, there is one. As Xcode will refresh it.
Diagnostic error. Game view controller. Swift colon. 108 use of unresolved identifier. Vector.
Okay, 108 SCN vector. So
Jump to line in. Game view controller. Swift ellipsis. Open quickly. Game view controller.
So there's a good way when you're checking errors and warnings, it will tell you diagnostic error, line, blah. At that point, if you want to jump directly to that line, just press Command L and type the number and press enter. You'll be at that line.
Return a CN vector. Left arrow next colon.
So here.
Return. Space. Cap S. Cap C. Cap N. Cap V. E. C. T. O. R.
So SCN vector, it should be SCN vector 3.
Left arrow. Save. Return a CN vector 3. Left arrow next colon. Left dot X plus right dot X. Y colon. Left dot Y. Z colon. Left dot Z plus. Right dot Z. Right parent.
Okay.
Game. Diagnostic error. Game view controller. Swift colon. 108 use of unresolved identifier. Vector.
No.
Save.
So Xcode needs to refresh this.
Diagnostic error. Game view controller. Swift colon. 108 use of unresolved identifier. Vector.
Okay, there's probably another SCN vector.
Return a CN vector 3. Left arrow next colon. Left dot X plus right dot X. Y colon. Front plus left parent left colon. SCN vector 3. Right colon. SCN vector 3. Right parent. Save.
Okay, maybe I'll just analyze it again.
Analyze.
Okay. Tick, tock, tick. All right, it seems like there are no errors now.
New line. Right brace.
And finally, one last small detail.
Full methods and function. Override new line. Override function down left parent. New line. SC. Func renderer left parent underline. New line. Time interval. Func renderer left. Var is moving equals var last interval. Var step interval. Var last interval. Unfold.
So in the renderer, what happens, because the renderer refreshes very quickly, so each time you're making a move, it's going to call up the callback function for the key down, take the extra unit of 1, and then move it in that direction. But 1 every, let's say, at 120 frames per second, if you move in a second 120 times 1, that's 120 meters. That's pretty much impossible unless you're a superhero. So
var is moving equals false. Func renderer left parent underline. Time interval right parent. Camera node dot position equals camera.
So in the position, camera dot position, we're just going to put a factor. So let's say put a factor of 0.3 or something like that.
Left parent direction dot X right parent. Y colon 0.0 Z direction. Direct CG float left parent.
CG float
left parent direction period
dot
X.
X maybe times
X star
0.3.
3 right parent comma space Y colon space 0 period 0 comma
Y, nothing happens.
space Z colon space cap C CG float left parent direction period Y.
Now direction dot Y times
Y star
0.
right parent. Save.
Now remember, float 2, it starts with X and then Y. If it was a float 3, there would be X, Y, and Z. That's why there's an interpolation of the Y and Z coordinates.
Save. If it's moving left.
Now, there might be a mistake because the factor might not be considered as a CG float.
Game.
Nope, everything is okay. So now let's run the simulation, see if we can move around.
Run.
I'll put the volume up a bit.
Tutorial 2.
Okay, now let's try to move. Okay, I've moved. There it is. See? But there's one problem.
Xcode stop.
Is that when I make a move, the direction vector will always keep the last variable. And that means that if I just press a tiny bit of the arrow, it will continuously keep moving because in the renderer, it will keep calling back that direction vector. So I need to set that to 0 once I've actually stopped using the arrow keys. So I'll just go down to the override key up.
If the current media time left turn, return. new line, func renderer left parent S, new line, override func key out, new line, override func key out, new line, unfold method, override is moving equals false, right brace, is moving equals false,
So here I got, yeah, is moving equals false.
override left brace, is moving, tab,
And then after that, I'll put direction
direction, equals, F,
float 2,
float 2, left parent,
0,
0, 0, 0, space, 0, 0, period, right parent, right brace, save, direction equals float 2 left parent 0.0, 0.0 right parent, I outlet dash, I outlet dash,
Alright,
run,
let's run the simulation again.
tutorial 2,
Okay, so I'm moving towards the right a bit, just getting a bit closer to the charm. Move back. And as you can hear, I'm moving around. And the crickets are somewhere else, but I'm not using them right now. Okay, it's a bit strange for me to be outdoors and walking on wood, but this is pretty much how it works. And yeah, so you can start moving around, putting all sorts of sounds inside. As usual, the code is available via the lab page on osiris.com, OSEYERIS.com. And yeah, just use it to your discretion and to your heart's value.
Xcode, stop.
So that's it for this tutorial number 2. I hope you enjoyed it and hope you've learned a few things. And I'll see you for the next video tutorial.